Good morning, folks. The real Captain Kirk here, live from Weather Trends 360 studio here in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. It is the 17th of September, Tuesday morning. Humberto is going to be a fish storm here. It will pass to the north of Bermuda. Unlike the Bahamas, Bermuda is much more capable of handling hurricanes. Buildings are actually built out of concrete. So again, it'll be a potential major hurricane as it passes again to the north of Bermuda. But again, they'll be on the right front quadrant. So again, that is the more dangerous side of the storm. So certainly some large waves and certainly some wind to contend with. Right now, tropical storm watch is up. So again, some minimal impact, but again, they can usually handle this. The system behind that, way out in the Atlantic, is potentially Imelda, ninth named storm. This one also looks to be a fish storm. May also impact Bermuda a bit, but it looks like it'll head to the north of the Virgin Islands and then make a right turn well off the east coast. If we look at the 14-day maps here again, not a lot, hopefully, here for the East Coast. Let's hope these fish storms, we have some cold fronts moving through that'll keep these storms off the East Coast. Weak system that's not going to get a name, but it's going to bring lots of rain to Texas here this week. Is passing to the west of Houston there. The map on the right is the wave heights, and you can see that, again, we'll get some near 30-foot waves as we get toward Bermuda with Humberto. Looking at the... If you think it's been a little bit dry here in the U.S., it has been since about mid-August. So since mid-August, the U.S. overall has been the driest in 6 years, well below average. East Coast even much drier, third driest in 30 years, driest in 9 years. So very dry especially dry from Texas through parts of the southeast up into the northeast. Maybe a little more rain. Nationally, the chart on the left shows some rain here. The Friday, into the weekend, going into next week. So, but this time last year, the U.S. overall was the second wettest in 30 years, wettest in 10 years last year. So, wholesale change of much drier weather. Wet weather's really been confined to the plains and parts of Pacific Northwest. We look at this week overall for the U.S. We say it's a little cooler than last year, a little misleading. Coolest in 4 years, actually, on a national scale, but still fifth warmest in 30 years. So, well above average for the eastern two-thirds of the country. Cool for the western third. Rainfall drier than last year. Again, 14th wettest in 30 years, so still a little bit above average. But again, not much rain here, obviously, for this week along the East Coast. Some of that rain west of Houston could be heavier than what's depicted here. Euro's gone way heavier than this. They got some pockets of 15 inches of rain west of Houston. GFS does not show that at all. So Euro may be a little overdone here with that system. Again, didn't get a name, but tropical type moisture moving into West Texas. Jumping ahead to next week, again, last week here of September, hard to believe December's almost over, 24th through the 30th. Warmer than last year for the week overall, 7th warmest in 30 years, above average. Cooler high temps from the plains, Midwest, Ohio Valley, into parts of the Northeast. Hot pockets will remain in the south central U.S. Maybe some rain along the East Coast here. We actually kind of need it here, so as what as it was earlier in the year. It's been pretty dry. So some rain along the East Coast, but still nationally drier than last year, 12th wettest in 30 years, so near average. If we look at this aggregate of the last 2 weeks of September here, so the latter half of September for the world overall, rainfall versus average on the left and max temps versus average on the right. Overall, U.S. warmer than last year. Europe's a little cooler than last year, but still above average. Canada's much, much warmer. They were really freezing coldest in some 30 years this time last year. This year, much, much warmer than last year, well above average. Australia is similar to last year, a little bit below average with the last little bit of winter down there. And Brazil, while very, very hot, is still cooler than last year, but fifth warmest in 30 years. If we look at the outlook here, fall arrives this time next week. So Monday, 23rd September, 3:50 a.m., fall will arrive. Hard to believe. Again, only so enjoy these last 6 or so days of summer, and by the time we talk to you this time next week, it will be fall. So with that, folks, have a great week, and we will be back here this time next week.